stuffed seats, bogus hotel rooms, even lost my luggage.
I'm on my quest for greatness. Took it out the basement. International. Researched different places. Studied different faces. Switched up the stasis. Mapped it out for these, but they couldn't take the basis. How it was, I laced it, had them all in my palm. And it wasn't the rock, I had them all tweaking on. Was the inspiration of the hood that I brought with me. Way I laid it to them. Wasn't no denying me. Simply got a X a fact. Need to know, hit the block and ask. Even Google can bring up the past. Unlike most, when I get up in it, I outlast. Burn the grass, watch me write bars around your ass. Sit behind the glass, feeding me pipe dream. Better off going to that nigga that's so jacked and beanstalk beans. Having fits cause you know I ain't having it. Hoping deep inside that you really hope I quit your shit.
Did you really think this was a game we was playing? Like we was just gonna fold it up and put it away cause you're mad, you losing? Nah, you just mad cause I'm getting paid in places you take your girl to vacate. Real talk.
Where I took it, where it went, what I did, what I spent. How I was up grinding while it is that you slept. Not the best, never said I was. It's what I give to you. Verbal Kindle, have your head on the spindle from what I've been through. Try painting me, making me into something I wasn't. Ended up painstakingly mistaking me for the dozens that you fuck with. You used to it, so of course I'm different to you. Seem at first like a foreign language to you. Giving nothing but the truth, gotta live through it first before you can ever step in the booth. Can't catch up to it if your feet ain't on the ground. So it's no wonder never hear about you when we ask around. Got your head up in the cloud, claiming to be getting it before you even living it. There ain't no way in out. Put it down, walk away from it slow. Now join me on my quest for greatness as I let the whole world know.
Now that I broke it down to you in the form of a rhyme, I brought the axe with me so he can finish chopping it all the way down. You gotta feel me on this one. We gotta level it out for you. So I'm just gonna let the axe do what it do. Go ahead, mommy, show 'em what I'm talking about.
F.M.P. Radio, we keep it 100.
We represent that middle school music. That's music with an IQ, yeah, I mean.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Old school, new school, need to learn though. Old school, new school, need to learn though. Old school, need to learn though. Old school, new school, need to learn, need to
All right, welcome to another class. Yes, another live episode of Middle School Music. Music with the IQ, because we dropping that knowledge. F.M.P. Radio keeps it 100. Brought to you in part by FU2, Forever United Together. Eli Quintana with Takeoff. That's a foundation keeping kids safe and off the streets. Monique Lopez has Midwest Storm, semi-pro basketball team out of Romeoville, Illinois. And, of course, My Killer Gravy, makers of the finest motherfucking gravy around. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is April the 21st, 3 past the hour, depending on where you are standing. And you are live with us. Welcome, YouTube. Welcome, Instagram. We have, of course, on Wednesday, a very special guest. You guys should know by now who she is, but without any further ado, I'm going to bring in Miss Anita Astley. I always get that so loud. Yeah, I thought I turned it down, but Anita's here. Man, are they already calling? Anita is here, and she is Yes, she's a licensed individual couples and family therapist with over 25 years of clinical experience. She's here every Monday and Wednesday to share the expertise on relationships. So feel free to call in 872-256-2017 with any questions and comments and put it to work, man. She likes it. She does it for you.
Thank you, Gino, for that
Yeah.
introduction. And you know
No
what?
problem.
I was caught in a snowstorm coming here today. What the fuck? For about 2 miles from Wisconsin. Oh
Yeah.
God, from Wisconsin to Illinois.
That is crazy.
Once I crossed over, it was
yeah.
beautiful.
The fact that it's snowing right now is kind of weird for us.
Jesus.
But April, there's been blizzards in the past
Yes.
in April in Chicago
Yes.
anyway. And you're from Wisconsin, so
I think Wisconsin's colder, but yeah, it was horrible.
yeah.
Snowstorm, and then crossed over to Illinois. It was beautiful and sunny. So maybe I got to move over. And I did not get to run outside. And you know, I hate that freaking treadmill. I call it the dreadmill.
Really?
So
You're
there's
not,
no
you're not a
running
treadmill
on.
fan?
No, there was no running on Michigan Mile, which I like to do sometimes when I come over here.
Right.
Before I do the show, but it was that treadmill, but I got it done, busted out 3 miles, and here I am ready to go. Come on,
Nice.
guys, let's get to work.
Yes, indeed. Ready to give you the therapy you need on this
Yes,
Wednesday.
Let's get it going.
Yeah, but it's a weird day weather-wise, but you know, just like Chicago, it'll be 80 next week. So
yes, it's gonna be 70s.
then
too.
people
That's what
wonder
it's
why
like.
their sinuses are all messed up and they don't feel good. It's not always COVID, you guys. It's sometimes just a natural weather issue.
Bipolar weather.
It is. Chicago is very bipolar. You guys are our suburbs, I guess now. Wisconsin's our suburb. So I've heard Milwaukee is now the new suburb of Chicago.
Milwaukee's an amazing city.
They're calling it the suburb because from what I'm told, they want people so bad like to go to the schools that they're offering money and incentives to bring you there. So one of the incentive is it's a suburb of Chicago. And
Are you coming? Gino, are you moving?
I think we got a caller. It looks like it's coming in from Canada. Hold on one sec. Let's see what we got here.
Okay, who do we have?
I think Christopher Lou.
Oh, okay. Chris.
Hello, is this Christopher? Okay, hold on one second, Chris. I'm gonna punch you through live. Okay, hold on one second for me, sir. All right. Yes, this is Christopher calling, and we are gonna punch him in live. Okay, Chris, you there?
Hello.
Hello, Christopher. Can you hear us?
Hey, Christopher. We got to hang up on you if we can't hear you.
We can hear you. Hello, Christopher.
He's going to have to call back.
Let me see if he... I hope it's not mine.
Well, we don't know.
Okay, yeah, when I put you through, for some reason, let me see if it's my end. Hold on a second. Let me try this again with the phone.
Yeah, we're just working out the kinks, guys.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Live radio.
Yeah,
Christopher,
live
can you hear me
that's
now?
What happens.
Hello.
Okay. I think we have a clear connection. How about you?
Oh, okay, good. Yes, indeed. Just making sure you can hear us.
What's up, Christopher?
Loud and clear. Hello, Anita. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for calling in. What is going on with you?
What is going on with me?
Yeah.
Well, I think what I mentioned to you is that if there was a person that I could sit down and have one conversation with, it would be this woman that I met over a year ago.
Okay.
Over a year ago.
Yeah.
That I never did get a chance to share 2 or 3 words with her face to face.
Okay, so you met her online?
Yep. Originally, we met on a dating site in 2018, I think it was.
Okay.
And then again in 2019.
Okay.
And then we ran into each other at a conference.
Okay.
Or at a, but and so that's where, and then I found her online.
Okay. So what's your question?
Right.
So you met her online, and then you saw her in person, and then you met online again, and
right.
Okay, so
but I never did get it. I expressed a lot over social media. I expressed a lot of my life with her,
Okay.
but I never got to sit down and get any verbal confirmation from her.
Okay. So it sounds like you're interested in her,
The
and
question
you're
is,
sorry, you're not sure if she's interested in you in a romantic
Right.
relationship. Is that what you're asking?
well, I certainly had loving feelings for her at
Okay.
the start. And I certainly she's still been part of my life over this last year.
Okay.
Almost like, I'm not going to say too much about it, but there hasn't been a day that goes by that I don't think about her.
Okay. So, Christopher, I don't know if you watch my IG live on texting and then social media relationships and how to take them to the next
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
But I would say to you, I'm sorry, we have a bit of a bad connection where I can't hear you clearly. So I'm going to say this to you and anybody who's watching who's in a similar situation or is, has met their love of their life, apparently through their social media. If it does not translate to, outside of that platform to a phone call or texting and then a phone call, because you go from DM to actually texting on a phone number, to a conversation through FaceTime and then hopefully a meeting in person, which is safe in a safe place, I always say, then it's not really a real relationship. It is over social media platform. And, it's real in a very different sense. But if you're looking for this relationship and you want to take it to the next level in terms of long-term and a romantic relationship, perhaps, I always say in the end, you've got to talk to each other and eventually you have to meet. And if it's something that's just going on online and the person refuses to engage with you in another way, then I would think that maybe it's not going in that direction for you, Christopher. That would be my advice to you.
Well, it did manifest for sure.
Uh-huh.
It did manifest outside of social media. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if it hasn't
Yeah,
grown
it
from
did
there on, then I would say, well, what are you looking for next in this relationship?
Mhm.
Right, Gino? I mean, where else?
That's true.
Well, this is going to, I have to see her eventually, I would imagine. We're supposed to have a court date here in Milwaukee in May.
Okay.
In that court, huh?
And
that's my city.
That's
so
a weird
wait a minute, Chris, where are you calling from?
Illinois.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought it was Canada, but okay.
Yeah, the number was.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're eventually going to be meeting up in Milwaukee? Is that what you said?
Yes. She's
Okay.
from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And I believe she wants me to confess my love to her in front of 12 jury.
Okay.
Oh, wow. This is
okay. So I mean, it has manifested.
This is taking turns.
Okay, tell me more about that.
for real.
What
It
does
feels
that
like-
mean? Profess
like
your
Maury
love to her.
Povich.
Yeah, seriously, what's going on?
I think he's hoping I will propose to her on the day we come to court.
Oh, okay. So you know what I'm going to say to you? Don't not propose to anybody that you do not know very well in person.
Yeah,
okay?
careful with that one.
Be careful with this one. So meet up with her. You said you're going to eventually meet up with her anyway. And then I would, huh?
Yeah, in court.
Yeah,
How about going to lunch maybe?
How about
court?
dinner or lunch? Or
Face to face is in the courtroom in front of a jury of 12.
All right, so you got to
And
take it
now-
out of the courtroom, like Gino was saying, on to a restaurant or something. Go for a walk by the water.
Yeah.
It's got to get out of that context, okay, Chris? So I'm sorry, Chris. We seem to have a bad connection, but that's my advice to you: is you've got to take it outside of the court to a date.
So
what happened to dating?
Well, I can plea bargain my way out of the trial.
Okay.
That she's hoping I'll confess my love to her at.
Yes.
And then try to, and after bailing out of my proposal, then I'll have to go back and try to meet with her again after backing out of a proposal.
Well, I still think, you should not be proposing to somebody that you don't know very well. That's not going to go too well for you, but I can't predict the future. Maybe you're going to be an exception to the rule. But I would say, yeah, get to know her outside of that court system and go on a date and then take it from there. And if, in 6 months or something you want to propose, go ahead. But I think if you're going to propose to somebody that you only know really online and you have limited physical contact with, that it's going to be problematic. So that's my advice to you. But again, it's your life. People do what they want.
For real.
You have to rush away because the connection isn't an online connection. It's something so much deeper than that. It's almost. Yeah. So anyways, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for your.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I know, but I want to.
Stacey's listening. If Stacey's listening.
Yeah, I just want to say.
I'm not trying to back out of my proposal. Okay.
All right.
I can't propose to you in court at trial.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. It's your life.
Wouldn't be recommended.
I wouldn't recommend it. And the other thing is. Yeah, Christopher, I just want to say to you that sometimes, these online relationships, I'm not minimizing the feelings that you can have for somebody online that are very deep and feel very real. But again, in my experience, it's got to still come to a face-to-face physical relationship. I don't mean sex, but just meeting each other, spending time with each other. That's really going to be telling you if this is going to be a compatible relationship for you or not. Again, you're an adult, do what you want, but that's just my advice.
For real.
Okay, thank you so much for calling in.
Chris.
We really
good luck with that too. Call us after the court date. Let us know how that went.
I know she feels right. Thank you. I know she feels the same way.
Okay.
I know she feels the same way about me that I do her.
Okay, so
we haven't had an opportunity to what's the word I want to use? We haven't had the opportunity to
make
come
it happen
together to express it.
All right. So then if it's that good, then in person it's going to be spectacular, right? So if it continues on that path, then you will know. But keep us posted. This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Chris.
It's
been a year and a half. Yeah. I thank you, Anita.
Yeah,
we'll
thank
talk to you later.
And thank you for always supporting and commenting on my posts. I really appreciate it. And I'm really interested to know what's going to happen with this relationship.
For sure.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, take it easy. Good luck out there.
Okay, good luck.
All right. Bye-bye now. Wow, that was Chris from Illinois.
But
good luck with that one.
Good luck with that. This is an issue of our era today, right? Meeting people online. But again, I have to say it's got to get off the platform again to either texting through, give me your phone number. If the person doesn't want to exchange phone numbers,
right?
That's a flag.
Yeah, that should be a red flag.
Burning building,
yeah.
Right? And if you can take it to that level, then FaceTiming, Zooming, or whatever, see each other. And then, of course, the physical meeting. It is so different to actually meet somebody than have this intense relationship with online.
Yeah.
And I've heard of stories where people have this intense connection online and they meet. It's so awkward. They're like, wait a minute, I liked you better online than I do in person.
Wow. I can imagine. Yeah, it's a different place. You can be different, right?
Yes.
Online than you can in person. You can't hide a lot of things.
You can hide, and you got to look the way you look, right? Because those profile pictures.
Them angles. Yeah.
Those
filters.
It's
so true. It's so true.
So Chris, good luck to you.
For real.
Please, if it's that good online, if it's gonna be that better in person, let's see where it goes.
To
right?
confess in court, like what? I found that just a big
what?
Yeah,
that'll be interesting and unique to hear about.
That's quite interesting. I'm glad I didn't have to online date. I was already hitched before that happened. So that would be weird though to have like a Tinder profile or some shit. I don't know if I could do that. Swipe right, swipe left.
It's all swipe right.
I'd be so anticipatory of
bottom
everything.
up. Yeah, you have a lot of anticipatory anxiety.
Yes,
right?
like why is she not swiping? Swipe her, no swiping.
Dora.
Right? It's like, nah, I couldn't. I don't know. That's the generation. That's what they have to do or how they have to do it, I guess, because it's what they have allowed to be accepted. So online dating is something in our society, but seems to be very awkward, though. All the stories that compile.
Yes, and
it's
you
just
know
awkward.
the latest research when I was reading about this in a magazine. They just happened to have this article because I'm a nerd sometimes.
Okay.
They were talking about that people are using the dating apps less, but they're using social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram more
Okay.
to find their love. Or
So that's where it's gone. It's gone away from the particular app itself to just social media.
Because they can look at the profile and they can get much more information than they can on a Bumble or Tinder site.
Gotcha.
Apparently.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay,
I think people put more info on their Facebook than they would a Tinder profile.
Yeah, and you can because of the space and also on Instagram. But you know, a cautionary note is all those pictures and there's filters. Mine have some filters only to lighten it because I don't have a
I think we got another caller. Let's see who we got.
Call from.
My name is Frank, and I'd like to talk.
To accept, press 1.
Frank.
To send a voicemail.
Let's go with Frank. Hey, Frank, how's it going? You're live on the air. How you doing?
How are you? How are you, Anita? It's Frankie from Instagram.
Hi, Frankie. How are you? Thank you so much for calling in, taking in the time.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick question. I was just watching the last session with the online dating. I was on back in 12, and I met my ex, and we.
Hey, watch where you stick that.
Apart. I went back on in December of last year, and it seems like it's completely changed now compared to 2012. In 2012, it seemed, I'm in my 50s, it seemed more people were more proactive to me. And when I was on in this past December, it seems like, in my own little thinking, that social media habits have creeped in where it doesn't seem like anybody wants to meet. They're on there to say they want to meet.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's more of just new pictures going on.
Okay.
And I got to get to know you on here.
Yeah.
And a lot of initiation and then crickets.
Okay.
So it's just, I actually won't go on it anymore because it seems frustrating and a lot of hard work. And I'm only talking in regards to being in my 50s.
Yeah.
But it seems like 10% of the people want to meet. And my profile actually was a little more to the point instead of the long walks on the beach. And, I would talk with women and say, well, I think it's pretty fair if we can meet within a week to find out if there's chemistry instead of waiting 3 weeks.
And what's the response?
The response is that then I'll get, well, I have to get to know you. And I just kind of go back respectfully, but in a realist view.
Yeah.
How are we going to know each other in here?
I agree with you. And you know what? When you're 50, it's a very different picture to when you're 20 because you have more time, right?
The time ain't on your side.
Yeah. And I would agree with you that I would say, okay, I don't want to waste my time if this is not going anywhere. And if you are not ready to meet, then okay, we're not going to meet and let's move on. And sadly with COVID, it's been the only way to kind of connect with people is online. But with everybody hopefully being vaccinated, being safer, and we can get out there and still try to meet people traditionally, which I know is difficult. But I still think it's a beautiful way to kind of meet. I don't know, maybe I'm just very traditional and I have to get with the times.
No,
but
absolutely.
But I have known people in my life who have met the love of their life online and they've married, had children. So it does happen. But I agree with you that people look at dating and looking and meeting their partner a very different way than before.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems like when I met my ex, there were no like hurdles like I was going through.
Okay.
And being people in our 50s, it seems like it's delayed more. Well, we're in our 50s. How much longer do you want to delay meeting?
Right.
Yeah. Seriously.
And I know
I'd be like, tomorrow?
Yeah. Maybe it's the mentality of being, in our 50s, we're more set in our ways. And, but I'm more traditional.
Yes.
And it gets frustrating that I'll get hits on my profile, great profile, would love to meet, I'll respond back.
Yeah.
And then it just seems a lot of people just want the initiation and then that's it.
that's it. They dropped the ball. But I think also at 50, it's not only it's not that you have, less time to do this. I think you're just more confident and you know what it is that you want. So I would be the same. I don't want to waste any time. I don't want to waste 3-4 weeks and then get to meet you and say, this was been a waste of time. A month in my life at 50 is very different to a month in my life when I'm 20.
Exactly.
Right. So I get it. And good for you to holding on to that. And hopefully you'll come across somebody who's having a similar experience.
And nothing wrong with being traditional, Frank. It's all good. Be traditional.
No, thank you.
I love traditional. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, I was just agreeing with Gino. Yeah, there's some things that traditionally were best, and maybe we need to go back to some of the ways we were connecting and meeting people. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's just, I would call. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and I'd call over and I'd say, her name's Janina.
Yeah.
I said, Janina, it's like silly post. I go, look at this. Look how threatening my profile is. Loves walks on the beach, loves gardening, loves avocados, loves the gym.
Beautiful.
Right. And I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying I'm expected to get replies, but I've gone through the trials and tribulations with the dating site.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten an idea. It's like a game of chess, but it just seems now it's more social media. Like I want to be able to say I'm looking for a relationship, but I don't want to get off the site either,
Gotcha.
Yes. So you're confirming actually what the research is saying, that people are not using the dating apps anymore, that they're going to Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, it just seems like the social networking is creeped into people are treating a dating site like a Facebook or Instagram. So I've actually, I'm off and I don't want to go back on, and I don't, not because of it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I just think it's changed so much compared to when I met my ex in 2012 that I'm just, and being busy with work now, I think just, I'm just going to let it happen, and I don't feel bad about that.
Sure. Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
and try meeting at the grocery store. I think if I had to go back into the dating pool, the grocery store should be like the best place, because you see her shopping and maybe interject with something in her cart and get into like a food conversation, because food always brings people together, right?
Yeah, and then you can check out her cart to see what she's buying.
And then her health habits, and you kind of can get a gist of what she's like right down the spot.
And you might want to move on or stick around.
Yeah, so for sure, keep that tradition up, though, Frank. We appreciate that, man.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, and one more thing, Anita. One more thing, Anita. I just want to say, I sit the same way on a chair like you're doing right now.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah.
The feet are always up.
The feet.
Yeah, your feet are up.
All right.
Well, enjoy your day.
Thank you
you
for calling
too.
in, Frank.
Okay, take it easy, Frank. All right.
No problem. Bye.
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 Yeah, that was Frank. All right.
Thank you. But it's a common problem and a complaint.
It is.
You think you know somebody, you invest some time with them on your platform, and then one person requests to meet and the other one is like, I'm not really sure.
Right.
So you don't know where that's going, or if it's going
happen.
anywhere, or are there like 10 other people being played like this by this person too?
I mean, right? Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know.
That's the problem with it. That's the unknown, I guess. And like Frank's saying, to just drag on not meeting. What's wrong with meeting at a Starbucks? What's wrong with meeting at an open mall? Go somewhere. I am all for a woman wanting to meet in a public place. Yes. I understand that. The world today is very upside down. We don't know what we're getting into if we go to the private places with people. So sure, the first couple times, go to a public place. I mean, I think it's normal.
Safe, but
and if a guy doesn't want to do that, then draw a flag and say, why don't you want to meet somewhere public?
And that's not safe.
Right.
I mean,
right. Exactly. Be safe, but be smart and meet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's got to be that physical compatibility also. It's one thing to see a picture,
right,
but it's another thing to meet somebody and
for real.
I would want to know how they move. I don't know.
Right. How they smell.
All those things that are really important.
Sometimes the cutest one online, I wonder if their breath stinks.
You're like, that's not something I can live with.
She looks like her breath stink. I
am not going out with her.
But I mean, for real, right? You want to know what's their habits. What are their nervous habits? What are their eating habits?
Yes. And think about a date, right? Go on a date. you're with the person, you are observing their character,
Sure.
because how are they going to treat the waiter? If there's a fuck up in the food, are they going to lose their shit? Are they going to be kind? All
Right.
those things that we would not learn
Social
from
media
a
won't.
profile,
Right.
but you would learn from having, a couple of hours with somebody just on how they're acting, what their demeanor is like, how they treat other people. You're going to see some of that value system being played out and coming out. And that's the
Sure.
only way to really experience it is
It
to
is.
be with somebody.
You got to
right?
do that.
All
Yeah, you got to do that. The technology is a gift and a curse. It
It
helps
is.
us with certain things and it hurts us with others. And I think
Yes.
relationship wise, it does
Yeah.
hurt
Yeah.
more
And
than it
again,
helps.
once COVID, we're free to go out. You've just got to go and get yourself involved in activities where there's going to be a likelihood of meeting somebody of the opposite, same
Yeah.
sex, whatever your preference is. And that, and I always have that sense and chemistry. I've talked about this chemistry thing
Right.
before, that you're drawn to certain people. And I've met people that we make eye contact and there's just something physical that's taking place
Sure.
that doesn't happen online. It only happens in the physical realm when you're around people in a
Right.
room. I don't know if you've had that experience. You're in a room with a group of people, you
Right.
gravitate towards certain people. And
Sure. Right.
right?
That energy that they
that
bring
energy,
in,
the vibe,
the
whatever you want to
vibe.
call it. I call
Yeah.
it chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Sure.
That doesn't
It all
happen.
plays a part, but it can't happen on
It
a
can't
phone.
be, or on online. We just see
Yeah.
pictures and we see comments and we see they're more of their social media patterns,
Yeah.
habits, and all that kind of stuff. But that can be all fabricated and
And
not
what
real.
about relationships that do start in social media? I get a lot of friends who have a hard time keeping their relationship going because of the social media platform being as like let's say like you and I met online, right?
Yeah.
And you post a lot of pictures of yourself with those angles,
Yeah.
showing your
Yep.
butt, showing your body in a sense. Not in distasteful ways, but just
No.
where obviously men are
Looking
drawn
at it. Yep.
and liking and everything. But then when you finally do become involved in a
Mhm.
relationship, I see a lot of them fight over the fact that one doesn't want to let go of that. Like they don't want to stop posting those pictures or don't want to stop receiving that attention. So that's another way that it can be damaging, where don't meet that way, meet again in person
Yeah.
and then say to them, why do you need that attention? Like,
Yeah.
can you
And
get
maybe
rid of
those
that?
angles are not really portraying
Well, some
themselves,
and
right?
that too, right? We know the angles hide things. I've learned that. But yeah, it's just weird at how social media plays a huge part
Yes.
in society, where
Yes.
I can easily turn off my phone or
Yeah.
turn off social media. I don't care for it. But that's because as a teenager and young adult, we didn't have it
We didn't
like
have
that.
that. Yeah.
And now if I had to be 17, like Frank said, his daughter's 17. So that generation is full on
Oh,
in
yeah.
social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
So yeah, my son and my own daughter, young, I pray for them
That's
when it comes to dating.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is the way that they live their life. It is all through
Yeah.
social
Big
media.
time.
And I often discuss this with I have a 17-year-old too, like what's real and what is not real.
Right.
And I always warn her, because you guys know all those dick pics, I hate to say it. I'm like, oh my God, do you get some too? And she does. And I'm like, oh, I have to
Wow.
have this conversation now.
Damn.
This was
Yeah.
not something you and I had to worry about growing up,
No.
but it's a conversation that we
Man,
need
if
to
you did
have.
that in our day, you're getting arrested.
You
that
get
that
arrested
that was
for
a crime
sure.
in a sense to
You'd get totally
show
arrested
your
for
body
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
And now the internet being so unfiltered, there's no
There's
way
no
to
filter.
even
Yeah.
stop it from happening as much as you
Instagram
try.
tries, but
That's
sometimes
what I mean.
they're like
It
way
gets
too
through.
quick. It gets
Yeah,
through.
it's
Yeah.
so saturated. How do
Yeah.
you pay attention to everything?
Yeah.
Right.
You can't. You
No,
can't.
you
Yeah.
can't. But what you can do is turn it off
Mhm.
and go into the real world. Go shopping, meet someone. It's even hard to say hello though at the mall. Like if you just pass someone and say hello, like I try it just to see what I'll get.
People's reaction is going to
Yeah,
be
and they
like,
don't
yeah.
even say it back. Some
Yeah.
people look at you if looks
Weird.
could kill,
Yeah.
like holy shit, I'm just saying hello. It didn't mean I want to fuck you. It just
Yeah.
means hi.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, that's a very interesting point that you're bringing up, because I always engage and interact with my followers, my friends, and I'm always worried that sometimes it's misconstrued. And I have to
Mhm.
make it clear, I'm not trying to hook up with you. I'm not trying to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm communicating because that's why I'm on this platform,
Sure.
communicating and sharing expertise in my life and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. There is a fine line between what you're doing professionally professionally, and then what people might construe as being something personal.
Right. Exactly.
Especially when you're posting pictures. I post pictures all the time. My followers know that.
Right.
And that's what I do. And,
Right. But
there are many that are deleted. Because people say, "Oh, you look so perfect." I'm like, "No, I'm not. My hair is crazy." And so that's how the whole foot thing started, because my hair was crazy. And I thought, I look kind of crazy today. My fro is wild. I'm going to take a picture of my ugly feet, but they were underwater. And then boom.
It blew up. Yep. And
And I love my feet.
How that works. But it just, right. People like certain things. And like you said, it's a hard line to understand what is what, what is real and what isn't.
What is not. And when we're posting pictures and they look so good and they look so real.
Right. But that's it.
And people ask me, is that really you? I'm like, well, watch my IG lives. It is. Then I'm like, oh, I didn't know about is it catfishing?
Catfishing.
Like, catfishing. I'm like, oh, who else would it be? But then I'm like, oh,
but
people do this?
Oh,
and my son's like, Mom, of course they do. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, right.
Because I don't think about that. I don't think that way, that somebody
Right.
would portray themselves as being someone else. I'm like, why the hell would you do that? Because eventually you will be found out.
Right.
So-
Yeah. But there's a whole TV show based on it. And it seems that happens a lot.
It happens a lot, and we have to be really careful.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
So did you read my post this morning on
I didn't. I heard about it though. I heard you talking earlier to me about it, and I know
that's okay. I'm not upset. I bring it up because I did share with my friends and my followers about that I would elaborate a little bit more on the post, and the post is about physical intimacy in relationships. And yes, physical intimacy, I want to say, is so much more than just sex. And a lot of the other stuff gets lost in it. Although, for many, if I look at a lot of my messages that I get in my mailbox, and also working with my patients, and I did post a very short video last week about this, it is such a problem in relationships, but people have such a hard time talking about it. And I had talked about this person who had messaged me, and they said it was okay to share because I gave them some advice. 10 years no sex, and then of course after I posted that, then I had a lot of other messages saying, oh my gosh, that seems like a long time. And somebody said, oh, that sounds like my life. And I'm thinking, yes, time slips away. If it goes from like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 10 years later, how does that happen? It happens very quickly because people lose touch with each other.
10 years without sex?
Yeah, I've heard longer than that. Honey. Well, this is what happens. Everybody's uncomfortable talking about it, and nobody talks about it. And they make all kinds of assumptions about what the other person is feeling and thinking about sex.
Yes.
And it's fine if both people don't want it. But I'm thinking, well, if you don't talk about it, how do you know that your partner doesn't want it, right?
Right. How do you know?
If you don't talk about it, you're not going to know.
But how does a person, go that long? Like, seriously?
Well, they masturbate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did I say the M word?
No, that's cool. I was thinking more like they just went that whole time without any type of...
No.
Oh, okay. So it's just the physical between man and woman, but they're obviously satisfying it.
Well, other ways.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because when I have individuals who come into my office and they tell me I haven't had sex with my partner, it's been 7 years. So I don't say, what I ask them, what do you do with your sexual desire? Okay. Where is it? How do you get your needs met?
Sure.
I don't ask them, do you have sexual needs still? Because most people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they do have some libido. Most people do.
Right.
It decreases with age, of course, for men and for women, the desire and performance, all that kind of stuff. So I ask them, well, how do you how do you get your sexual needs met? And it's usually through masturbation, or they have an affair, or they're watching porn. They're self-help. It's a self-help program.
But they choose to just not try to involve the other party.
Yeah. Or they've tried, they've tried through trying to have sex, but not really having the conversation about the sex. And then when they get rejected so many times, and it does work, most often it's the men feeling like this, but there are some women in relationships who are not also getting satisfied with their husband or their partner, and they just don't talk about it. Like, I cannot imagine that, because I talk about everything in my house, in my work, with my friends, and that this is a make or break deal, I would think, for most people, where people start setting up they're living parallel lives. They actually end up having separate bedrooms, and they rationalize and justify that with things like, Well, he snores or she has terrible sleeping habits, and then they live very separate lives, and they just come together to co-parent if they have children. But I'm thinking, okay, once those children grow up and leave, guys, what the hell is going to happen to your relationship? And perhaps they are going to divorce, separate, whatever it is, or they agree to live life like that to protect the image. I'm thinking, well, that's a very dissatisfying way of living. I don't know. I couldn't do that. Because I want to live an authentic life. But I understand on some level why people with young children do that. But at some point, there's going to be a break. And usually, if we look at the divorce rates, the highest is really when your kids are, when you have children, they're toddlers, because that's a fucking pain in the ass, right? It's constant disturbance. Your life is like all over the place. High rate of divorce then, but also when the kids are launched. Right, they go off to college because you've grown apart. All those years, the kids have served as a distraction, and you've divide and conquer to take care of everything. But in the interim, you've neglected the relationship,
right,
emotionally and also physically. So when the kids leave, you're kind of you start off like this, then it kind of goes like this, and then you're like this. So polarized. And if at 50, you're looking at each other saying, I don't know who the hell you are. I know who the kids were.
Right.
And maybe I don't want to know you, or maybe I don't even like you anymore.
Yeah.
Boom, there is a divorce. And
I've even read on guys who get upset that like the baby's breastfeeding. And, it's like, wow, really?
There are men I've worked with, couples who are men who feel neglected and abandoned by their wives because the baby becomes the baby becomes center, and that's
it
just
should be. I mean, that's I don't know, but
but
again, that's
a different
human
issue.
nature.
That's a different issue.
Okay.
Yeah, because that baby needs the
but I
breast
thought
for
it was
survival.
part of the growing apart thing,
Well,
over, like you said, over the chaos of dealing with the children,
with the newborn,
and having to focus on that.
That is the chaos,
as opposed to each other.
Yeah.
And then years later, you realize, wow, I haven't touched her or touched him.
Yes.
And then it's like, damn, I can see that happening, I guess, as it's explained to me, but knowing in my own mind and household, that would never fucking work.
Yeah, and I'm glad that
find the time.
Yeah, you find the time, you make the time, and if it's going to be scheduled sex, hey, that's better than no sex. Because people also say, well, I want to have spontaneous sex.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, you're not 20 years old. You got kids. You got to schedule it in, or you're not going to get any. Which one do you want?
That's what grandparents are for. Drop them off at the grandma's house, or
10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be right back, Mom. I need you to watch the kids real quick.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that's where grandparents get their quality time.
Well, some people don't have such great grandparents.
Well, true. And I know if you don't have it, then I was going to say nieces, nephews, you find
get a
somebody.
Sitter, make time.
Right.
Prioritize.
Right.
Because what's happening is they're getting emotionally more distant.
Yeah.
And more distant. And then they're like, fuck it. I'm not even going to try.
And it's okay to schedule it. Why does it have to always be just spur of the moment?
Schedule exercise, right?
Yeah. Schedule dinner.
Exercise.
Yeah. You schedule breakfast, lunch, and exactly. Right. Everything is a schedule, but that, no, schedule that too.
Yeah.
Hey, 7:00, me and you in the room. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Put on some Dora and let them watch Nickelodeon for about
exactly.
an hour.
They're not going to become retarded if they watch TV. Parents are so scared.
SpongeBob maybe. But
yeah, SpongeBob. He looks like a freak.
Yeah, I've actually read up that is the one kid show that has nothing to do with teaching them anything. There's no knowledge in that show.
He just looks like
it's crazy.
Fucked up toast. And why is he yellow? I don't know.
Yeah, he's a sponge.
Yeah. But let me say a little bit something about, you brought up a really good point where the mother is breastfeeding and then doesn't want, the husband tries and he feels like, oh my God, I'm being neglected.
Then he starts to he gets jealous of his own child.
And then he feels that the woman is pushing him away. I'll tell you, having nursed 2 children, that at that point, as a woman, your body doesn't feel like your body anymore.
Yeah.
Because literally being sucked out of you, energy, time, and you feel gross because
I've heard that doesn't feel well either while they're nursing.
Feel good. Fucking if they bite you sometimes.
Yeah, bite your woman's nipple and see what she does.
It's not a sexy bite
right, she's smacking you. She's gonna smack your ass. Yeah,
and it doesn't feel good. Okay?
Right, certain biting, but that biting doesn't. Yeah.
So there is this natural tendency that when your partner tries to touch you, that it's like this because
Right.
you're just so tired of being touched. But
Mhm.
that's, and then of course translates into, oh my gosh, she doesn't want me to touch her. She doesn't want to be touched. And oh my God, what's wrong with our relationship? And it
Yeah.
just grows apart, where we need to just be able to talk about it. The woman needs to be able to say that to her husband. Look, I'm
Sure.
groped all day by this baby and the other ones,
Right.
maybe.
Give me a minute.
Give me a minute, and can
Maybe
you
take a nice warm bath and soothe
yeah.
her into it. Go take the kid away from her, let her relax, and maybe when
Let's
you
be
come back, she'll be ready.
and
You know?
let's be sensual together,
Yeah.
bringing back some sensual touch,
Sure. Yeah.
which brings me to my exercise that I
Uh-oh.
want to share today with you guys.
Uh-oh. Exercise. We got a
Message.
yeah.
We got a message, which
Yeah.
I slightly touched upon in my post today. It is called Sensate Focus, okay?
Sensei focus.
Sensate Focus. It is a
Sensate focus.
cognitive behavioral technique that couples often are prescribed. It's not my technique. It's been around for a long time. It's Johnson and Masters, I think, in
Ancient.
1960s brought it up. It's been
Okay.
used for 50 years. What do you think it is? Sensate Focus. You
I
just
have
kind of
no
said
idea.
it.
The word sensei to me
Yeah.
describes a Chinese martial arts
Stop it.
teacher. No, a sensei. That's
Sense.
yeah, but
Sense.
I'm thinking sensory.
Yes.
So it has to do with our senses.
Yes.
Okay.
You're on the right track.
That's about all I get from
Yeah.
that word because
So-
I've never heard it till just now.
Oh, good. I'm teaching you
Yeah,
something.
you are.
So Sensate Focus is an exercise that couples can do. And actually, it's not only for couples or individuals can do
Sure.
when they're having a lot of performance anxiety and have trouble performing. And their
Okay.
sex life is not very satisfactory. It's like boom, boom, and done,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It's just getting people to be in tune with their other senses and not just focusing on the genitalia, the other sexual
Sure,
parts,
sure,
the
sure.
breasts, and for feet.
Like
feet is
focus
your
on the
thing.
toes a little bit or the
But it's very particular to, it's really saying, let's be mindful of touch again, touch that is sensual,
Okay.
the sensate part.
Yes.
And it's broken down into 4 phases where initially, and people, practitioners use it and advise couples to use it for a month, and people get very impatient with it. But there's 4 phases. And the first phase really is about getting to know your body through touch that does not involve arousal, orgasm, or genitalia.
Okay.
Because people generally go for those spots, right?
Sure.
Because they just want to go and get it done and
Right.
move on. But for people who have a very dissatisfied sex life and maybe have trouble having an orgasm or having an erection, this is perfect because it takes the pressure off. And the agreement initially is we will not have intercourse, we will not touch each other's genitalia. What we will do is spend some time together touching each other and touching ourselves,
Okay.
bringing us to the point where we want to have sex. There's that
gotcha.
desire.
The build up.
Yes, the
Yeah.
build up. But initially there's no expectation, there's no judgment,
Right.
there's no preconceived notion about what that is going to be like in terms of what you usually do.
Sure.
It is just focusing and being mindful of touch. Can you imagine that? Because people don't really touch each other, I think, unless they want to have sex, sensually anyway, because their expectation is that it's going to lead to intercourse or some kind of orgasm
Word.
or
I've
erection that's
seen
going to be
that,
completed.
I love smacking the butt just in passing or kiss on the lips or the cheek here or
touching,
there.
sensual touching.
Yeah.
And the goal eventually is to have intercourse, ejaculation,
Well, we
orgasm.
know that's going to happen.
That's
but
going to
yeah.
happen, but it's really spending a month just getting to know the other person's body and also
Sure.
getting to know your body. If you're having trouble and if you're single and you have trouble, having, I assume everybody masturbates, that if you're having trouble, you can also do this with your own body and yourself. It's just getting to know your own body,
Okay.
getting in touch with a sense of touching.
Sure.
That's not sexual, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more sensual. There's
Yeah,
a difference
sensual
between
than
sexual
right.
than sensual.
Yeah,
So the
of
term
course.
sensate focus is really focusing on our senses, which is touch.
Yeah, light massages, rubs,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. You don't have
Yeah.
to always touch the private areas. I get you.
Yeah. And it's allowing your body to actually experience touch
Yeah.
rather than being a spectator of touch.
Why do
Does that-
people have a problem with that? What's the general consensus of why we don't want to do it or whatever?
Well, I think because most people, after a certain amount of time in long-term relationships, especially, the goal is to have intercourse, have an erection,
okay.
give
So
her an
it's just
orgasm. Again, it's
boom,
not
boom,
giving,
yeah.
boom, boom, and let's get it done. And if there's any conflict And if there's a loss of emotional intimacy, and if there's some kind of disturbance in their sex life, it becomes very conflicted. And, when we have conflict around sex, that generally leads to a very negative association about that type of relationship, the sexual relationship. So it's getting rid of that negative association by bringing in something that's going to take the focus off the end result. Yeah, our battery's dying. Sorry. Yeah, the battery's dying. It's okay. Gino's taking. Good thing we have Gino. He's taking care of everything. So yeah, no, I just want to reiterate that again. If you're having these kinds of relationships that are not satisfying sexually in your relationship, you can Google it too. There's a lot of stuff on Sensate Focus online, but it is really about mindful touching and not being a spectator of what's going on. And, I hate to use that word, but it is. If we're not really involved and engaged in what's going on sexually in the moment, then we're kind of observing ourselves and we're kind of watching ourselves, and our head is everywhere. And I've heard that many times in trying to have sex. I'm focusing on, my erection. I can't keep it up. And I feel all this pressure and anticipatory anxiety. And then, of course, my wife is disappointed. And of course, I feel emasculated because it didn't work out. Then I'm thinking, okay, you're a spectator while you're having this sexual experience. Your body is not really experiencing it, if that makes any sense. So it does, right? So the body and mind connection is so important in our sexual relationships. People often don't think about that. They think, I can do this and I don't really have to be into my head, literally.
You got to connect. I mean, that's a huge, even during sex, that there's that connection of, the mind and the body, of hearing her and I'm sure she does it back, our movements and our, I could tell when it's certain, certain things aren't working or certain things are working. And I mean, right. If you're just thinking of the one thing, then what do you expect it ever to become? It's just going to be a wham, bam.
And then it's not fun. Like if you're doing that over long term in your relationship, it becomes boring. And people complain about that all the time. It becomes boring. So I would say, well, you can also do that rather than saying, okay, we're going to, if you're going to schedule it, have a Sensate Focus session, put on some candles, some music. And the goal doesn't have to be to have intercourse or orgasm. It can just be to touch each other and feel good. Right. In a hot tub or something.
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
Glass of wine, perhaps.
Why? Yeah. Go for it.
So it's bringing back some of that desire that you might be missing especially in a relationship that you've been in for some time. It's sprucing things up. When you're first dating and it's kind of, I know you can't
the honeymoon phase, they call it.
The anticipation of how good it's going to be. So with Sensate Focus, you can hopefully bring some of that back. The anticipation of that experience, of the orgasm.
I mean, you got to work at it. If you're in a long-term relationship,
it is work.
You have to come up with those new ways and fresh ideas and keep it interesting.
Keep it interesting and keep the emotional part of it also alive by just talking about physical intimacy.
Communicate. Ask her what she might like, or tell her what you like. Guys, don't be afraid to tell your girl that this is what you like, and can you try it for me? And I see a lot of guys step outside of their own relationship because they'll find a girl that will do it, but they never ask their own girl to do it.
That's a really good point. Yeah. They've never had the conversation, but yet with a stranger, they can do all of that stuff. So we want to break out of the negative cycle we can get into in our head about our sexual experience with our partner. Because
sex has always been so taboo, though. It's just always.
That's why I love talking about it.
I bet, and that's that's why you're so well versed in this, because there's so much to talk about and
so much to talk about. I'm telling you, in session, literally, I could talk about this 24/7.
I bet,
because it's one thing people want to talk about, but they're so afraid to talk about it. They're ashamed to talk about it. And of course, there's that culture component. You know, I'm Indian. Indian people fucking never talk about sex. They pretend they've never had sex.
Yeah, right. But they got kids. Yeah.
And so when I say to an Indian couple, so when's the last time you had sex? They look at me like, oh my God, I can't believe she's Indian and she said sex.
You're asking me that? Yeah, like how dare you? It's
and I'm like, listen, you have kids, so I know you did it at
you
least
know,
twice.
right. You've had to have right at least.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, you're right. It's just been programmed in us to think that that's bad.
Yes.
You don't talk about it. Families won't talk to their kids about it.
I
then
talk
they
to
wonder
my
why their
kids.
kids go crazy when they do finally have sex, and then they're the biggest man whore or you know, biggest thought on the block. It's because you didn't teach what you
didn't
should
teach
have.
them. And I talk about sex very openly with my kids to the point, you know, where they get embarrassed. Like my son, he doesn't live at home anymore. But I'm like, honey, it's okay. Take the Kleenex box and I don't need to know anything. He's like, Mom, seriously?
Yeah, no wonder my hot water bill is so high. You're always in the shower.
Those 2-hour showers.
Yeah, like, what the hell are you doing
Does
in
your
there?
son do like my son was in there for hours? I'm like, what the hell?
I think we kind of come to the realization that he might be doing that.
What's
but,
going on in there?
But that's okay. Yeah, I tell him all the time, hey man, you know, hey, that's how we learn.
Can you use the cold water
explore
instead?
Right. Can you save me some water? Because I don't like getting, or let me go first. Let me take a shower first and then you can go ahead. But no, you're right. Same in my house. We're very open about it.
Very open.
I tell my kids any questions, come and ask. Be careful with what you do. Respect each other.
Yes, bodies,
communicate with each other. And then, of course, explore yourself. You know, I've had people tell me, you know, why do you encourage your kids to touch themselves? Why the fuck not?
Yeah, it's their body. They got to own it, right? And they got to know how it works. And that's awesome because when they're in a relationship, a sexual relationship, then they'll be okay to talk about it, right? So my goal is to raise children, adults who will, you know, be able to talk about their sex issues if they have any.
And be okay with it.
Yeah, be okay, not be repressed.
Right.
But just touching on, you know, because I love data, to keep up with data.
Sure.
Children who have parents who openly talk about sex in their household, those, as you know, adolescents, whenever they start having sex, are less promiscuous than children who grow up in households where sex is a taboo. It makes sense.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
It just makes sense.
I've seen those growing up with mothers and fathers that are just, you know, keep your dick in your pants.
Yeah.
To being the biggest sexually active people ever.
Man whore.
Yeah, so many different partners and so much chaos in their sex life. They don't know how to keep a relationship going. They don't understand the why and don't realize to look at themselves because they think they've just been programmed to just, you know, what's the big deal? I wasn't told it was a big deal. It was just shut the fuck up. Don't talk about it. But no, you should have those conversations. And I think that data is right. If you do that, they are less likely to go and do things that they would normally want to. I guess it's more like the rebel factor too. Because if you keep telling an adolescent no, what's going to happen? They're going to go do it.
They're going to go and do it, right? So it's not something that works. So why not use something that does work?
And I think we've come to that. Yeah, we've learned that, I think, as parents and adults that it doesn't work. But let's see who's calling. We got
a caller. Awesome. Yeah.
Let's see who this is.
Call from. To accept, press 1. To send
their name. Hello, caller. You're live on the air. What's your name and location there?
Hi, this is Gerald, and I'm in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
Hi, Gerald. How are you?
Pretty good. Hi, Anita. I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Thanks for calling in.
That's good. You're welcome. Yeah, I was just listening to y'all talk about like sex and like how like families don't talk to their kids about sex.
Sure.
Which is true because like that's how it was with my family. Like if I brought up the word sex, like it's like no, you can't have sex or like till after you get married. And like that's the only advice that I got about like sex.
So how did that affect you when you finally did start to have sex and meet with the opposite sex? How did that work for you?
It definitely affected me because like I guess it stuck with me in my head because like
to not talk about it.
Felt like I didn't like talk about it.
Okay.
So like I guess I felt shamed about like talking about sex or sexuality. Yeah.
Sure.
And how is it now for you? The same?
It's. I mean, I feel more comfortable about it now.
Okay.
Like I feel more like comfortable in my sexuality and like I guess like having sex, even though I haven't had it yet. But like I definitely feel like I've grown into like being more, willing to have sex.
Yes. So this is going to be you don't have to excuse me, you don't have to answer this question. So did you have issues with touching your own self because of this and felt guilty? Because a lot of people do that. They've been made to feel guilty and ashamed of wanting to explore their own bodies when it's one of the most natural things for people to do and healthy.
Right. I did at first. It's weird. Like when I like started touching myself, like it was weird. Like it just felt good doing it,
Mm-hmm.
Like
so it's not
Sure.
weird. It's healthy and natural and normal.
Yes. Don't
Right.
So I'm always like this shame and guilt with men. It's trying to really work on relieving some of that and as a society, but our families with our boys, that's where it's going to start. But Gerald, thanks. You've always been a good supporter of mine. I really appreciate you calling me today. And I think we had talked about relationships too before, right?
Yeah, we did. I think so. Yeah. Think about like friendships and stuff. Yeah.
And how is
crazy.
that going?
I think I've been following. It's going better. Like I finally like overcame like just the disappointment of like losing a friend.
Yeah.
Because like I really like this person.
Yeah.
And I like talking to him. Mm-hmm. So like it's just disappointing when like you lose somebody that you really admire.
Yeah.
Because of the sexual part of it, you mean?
No, I don't know. They just became, I guess, distant, or I don't know if they just got tired of me or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah. It kind of just like faded away, I guess.
Yeah. And, again, it's about the value. And I think that's what I had shared with you. If you're not feeling valuable in a relationship and somebody is treating you like shit, let's just say that. And I think this was not a romantic relationship, it was a friend, right? Because often we think about relationships as only romantic ones, but we're all in relationships with our friends, our family, neighbors, whatever. But yeah, with friends, and I've had this, I've had enough friends in my life to know that sometimes some relationships you just have to say goodbye to. Friendships that if they're not making you feel valuable, if they're not adding something to your life, but always bringing a lot of stress and negativity, you don't need that in your life then. But I understand also it's very painful to let go because there's parts of that person, I'm sure, that you liked and that you liked and you loved. And, we build bonds with people and it hurts when we have to let them go. But again, asking yourself, is this creating more pain for me, or is it just because all intimate relationships have some form of conflict eventually, because intimacy breeds conflict. But can we work this out in this relationship, or is it me just always having to compromise my values and my value to be in this relationship?
Yeah, and I think that's what it felt like. It just felt like I was compromising too much.
Yeah.
And so like it felt like it just got too toxic for me to just hold on to the friendship. So I just had to like let it go for my peace of mind.
Yes. And you have to, people come in and out of our lives. Some people stay and some people came to teach us something. And value yourself, Gerald. Value yourself. Always value yourself.
Definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling in, Gerald.
Yeah, thanks,
I appreciate
Gerald.
your time.
And good luck with it.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't believe I finally did it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, you can call in anytime. People are shy, and I always tell people it's okay. When you call in over the phone, nobody's going to know who you are if that's what you're afraid of. But that's okay. I'm so glad that you overcame that, because I know you wanted to, and you're a little bit hesitant, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's normal. So you did it. Congratulations.
Awesome.
And so nice to hear people's
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I want to say, when you guys call me, it's so nice to hear your voice, because I get the DMs and I get the comments that I post, but to actually interact with you like this and hear a voice, I think, oh,
cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Touches my heart.
Because because I know you talked about that, about the DMs, but like, I know you said like you like it better when you actually like hear somebody's voice.
Yes.
Like somebody call you,
Yeah. Then it's a form of emotional intimacy, isn't it? When you go from, texting, DMing to actually hearing their voice. Now I will always connect your, your profile, your messages to the voice, because now I've heard the voice.
For sure.
I like
it.
Thank
That's
you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Gerald, and have a great evening, honey.
Thank you too. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
All right. Take care, Gerald. Thanks again. All the way from Texas. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Nice
Everybody
and hot.
who's called, we appreciate you. Like Anita said, they're not going to know who you are. It's okay to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And if they do hear your voice and know you, maybe they'll learn a little something.
Yeah, maybe you model to them that it's okay to call, right? Maybe. And I did have a few people who wanted to call, and they're like, oh, I want to talk about the foot and fetish, but I'm so ashamed and embarrassed. I'm just thinking, oh my God, we have to work through this shame, embarrassment of this or that, work through it. I mean, too much time and energy is spent on being ashamed and embarrassed for men. What's this, Gino?
I don't know. I've always heard, or not always, I've heard that as a young man, it's scientifically proven it takes more energy to be negative than it does to be positive. So I've always tried to stay positive unless I really have to go negative. But yeah, I'd much rather spend less energy, and I love being happy than I do being upset or angry. I hate that part. But I see people who seem to wake up and want it, but maybe they need to learn some of that touch and learn some of that
good touch.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you, those people are committed more to their negativity than they're committed to their happiness.
And if they spend just as much time on the negative energy for the positive, they might find that they can actually have a turnaround of,
they can.
of events.
It takes work, like we talked about last week. It is your thought process, and if your thought process is always negative, we got to go back into your brain in that file folder and say, what the hell happened? Why is retrain? Why is your negative, if we use piggy banks, negative piggy bank so full and your positive one is empty?
Right.
Okay, maybe that came from your childhood, but how many years are you going to be in prison to your childhood? Seriously. And I tell people, listen, you didn't have a choice as a child. That was your life. I get it.
Right.
But when, as an adult, are you going to break free and make the choices for you today? Are you still going to be a prisoner of your freaking childhood?
Yeah, really.
And I know it's easier said than done, but people I'm like, okay, let's do it. We're here to do the work. Let's do it so you can move on.
Why not? Right.
You need to move on.
You make changes. When you're young, you don't get to do certain things because your parents hold you back. And then when you're adult, you make the change to do those things.
Yes.
Same in that respect, right?
Same.
Do different. Don't keep saying my mother did this to me. My father did
Stop
that to me.
blaming.
Yeah.
Stop blaming.
Let it go.
And sometimes people are afraid of therapy because that's what it is. But I tell you, in my office, when I ask people, I say, okay, can you tell me a little bit more about your childhood?
Sure.
And I preface that with, I'm not asking these questions to blame your parents.
Right.
What I'm doing is trying to understand what it was like for you growing up in your household.
Sure.
Because I want to know some of the things that you do today originated from there. And it's not to blame your parents. It is to learn. And your parents have a whole history and why they do what they did and what happened to them. We're not going to go and explore and uncover that, but it'll help me to understand where you are today, and it'll help me to help you move forward and resolve or come to peace. Come to peace with what happened to you so we can move on. It's not holding on to all of that stuff that happened to us, and people do that all the time. So guys, therapy is not about being stuck in the past. We explore the past, but with the goal of trying to understand your life and with the ultimate goal of moving forward in a very different way, and that's key. Different.
Oh, I agree. I mean, the past is important. I have a lot of people who would argue with me about why do you always hold on to things in the past or bring it up? And it's like, I'm not holding it or using it all the time as a way of like trying to attack. It's more of we learned from this, and sometimes we just need to be reminded that that did happen, and let's not let that happen again. Without history, without our past, we wouldn't be here today in the future. We use the past to continue on. So it's not about holding it, or it's how you use it, right?
Yeah, it's how you use it. Of course, there are things in my past, that happened to me as a kid, because they are blueprints. They form blueprints in our brains that we can't let go of, but we can work through.
Right.
And I know when something is happening to me and the trigger has been pulled, and that little girl is feeling that way, and I have to quickly remind myself, you're not the little girl anymore. This is what's happening to you. And it happens now automatically. I had to work on that. I shared that I was in therapy for a long time as part of my program, but it was the best experience I had because I learned so much about myself, my parents, and where the direction that I needed to move in to be the best version of myself. But even within that framework today, it's not a weakness, because I want to share that it is not a weakness to regress a little bit. I have that self-awareness that, I'm starting to slip. Boom, I put myself back.
Right.
Yes.
As long as you are conscious of that, I think it's very
awareness
good.
that little girl is coming out again, and
right.
Stop it. Stop it, Anita.
Right. Bad girl. Well, but at least you do that instead of
Yes.
just continuing to focus on it and then bringing everyone down around you because of it too.
Yeah.
And I see that too with relationships where they'll attack their spouse, kids, family members, all because they just can't do what you just said to say to themselves, stop it. We understand that happened, but we need to move on. We need to change the narrative. If it didn't work or whatever, change the way you did it or are doing it so that it does work. What's wrong with change? Stop fearing change. That's another thing of us humans. We're scared of change. We don't want to conform. We rather just, no, I like it this way and that's it. But we're not the only person on the planet. So we have to conform. I have to do things to make sure I'm not being mean to you and to others. And
well, sometimes what happens to people, they are surrounded by other people who are afraid to confront them, because we as a society think of confrontation as a fight. I love confrontation because for me it's like, okay, I love you, but there's something that's not going well between us, and then we need to talk about it. That's confrontation. Confrontation is not me yelling and screaming at you.
Right.
Sometimes it ends up like that,
but
it really is about when you think, what is confrontation really? You think a certain way, I think a certain way, and they're not the same.
Right.
So we need to come together, discuss the differences, and then agree to disagree, perhaps, or come to some middle ground where we can make it work.
Right.
Right?
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
But again, it's not fearing it.
Yeah.
It's actually embracing confrontation. I mean, that's another show. We're going to do it another time.
Right.
But everything we talk about for me is always connected. We talk about the schemas in our brain that are formed when we're really young, which affects the thought process. And I said before, which affects our emotions, and of course, which affects our actions. And all of this is played out in our relationships with people.
Yeah, it is. And it'll affect your relationship with others. Yeah.
Whether you're dealing with a sex issue, an issue with your romantic relationship, or friendships, or family.
I think that's where a lot of road rage comes from. Because they just got done fighting at the house. And then now I got in front of you on the road, and I'm this asshole motherfucker. Like, what? This is the road. We share it. Your car is here. My car is here. Who's entitled to the road? We're all entitled. But man, do they act like, you can't fucking cut me off. And what? But I think it stems from what just happened at the breakfast table.
Absolutely. It's a displacement of your emotions and anger. And it's such a good story, because I did work with a patient many, many years ago who had this problem. He couldn't talk to his wife about all the issues that were going on in this relationship. And I was dealing with his road rage, right? Literally, he would follow people home. And I was like, dude, first you might get fucking killed.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
In today's
Follow
time,
me home and see what happens.
You might get killed. Then put a lot of people are going to be harmed, including your wife. Why don't you just go talk to her, deal with where the rage is coming from, right? Stop putting it out on somebody you don't even know. They can't fucking hear you.
Right. Right.
You ever see people in the car? They're like, oh, la, la, la.
Yeah.
You know what I do? I'm like,
yeah.
bye,
Me too.
darling.
I do this. I do this a lot. I wave.
I'm like
when
this.
They want to
Yeah.
come behind you and stay on your bumper and then go around and then cut you right back. I just go, bye.
I'm like, have a lovely
Have a good day.
I love you so much. And the worst part is if they pull in right next to you. And then you're like, have a wonderful day.
Right. Or they speed up 100 miles an hour to get to the same red light. You end up right behind them.
Oh, God. I just don't make eye contact. And this guy would literally.
I'll look over.
No, I won't do that because I don't want to get shot.
Oh, I'm good. But yeah,
you're good. I'm like 5 foot nothing.
I know. I understand. It isn't always right to engage.
I had to say, do not make eye contact. Yeah. Okay. And this guy would have the same, but they pull up neck. You know that. Yeah. And I'm like, don't look. He's like, I can't help myself. I said, don't look.
Right.
Own your power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can control yourself. Don't fucking look at, because you're just going to entice each other and it's just not going to end well.
Won't end well.
And you and I know we've heard those stories, right? Where they've taken out a gun and like, how does that escalate to the point now somebody's shot and you've killed somebody and you're fucking going to prison?
Yeah. A little boy in Chicago got shot in the neck over a driver that didn't want to let another merge. Yeah. Really, a 10-year-old child shot in the neck because of that. That being the reason is so sickening.
Yes,
it is. And you're right. It don't make eye contact. I mean, easier said than done, as you said before.
Because we get caught up in the moment.
It's the moment. It's the rage. Right. And then if they're doing something to you, then you feel like you need to do something back. And I've gotten caught up in, not the whole, we didn't go all the way.
Do not engage.
But I've been caught up in the whole middle finger throwing.
Yeah,
and,
don't.
But for me, it's funny though. See, they get really upset because I'll laugh.
I know, but that can make them even more angry.
I don't care. I mean, for me, again, you're a little person, so you don't want to engage.
Scared.
I'm a bigger person. I'll take you on. I don't mind if that's what you want.
But it's really about, look at how upset you're getting over a stupid, they cut you off accidentally, probably.
Yeah.
And you are fucking full of rage, probably from somewhere else.
Right.
Because you don't know the person. You don't know anything about them. Yeah. But now you'll
probably never see them again.
You went from 0 to like 100
real quick.
You're willing to kill yourself and that person by having now chase.
Right? Yeah. Then you're harming the others around you or putting them in harm's way.
I mean, seriously, if we watch this on a movie, we'd be like, okay,
what the fuck?
Dude, seriously? You were going to work.
It'll end with Denzel Washington breaking your neck or something.
Oh, okay. I might stop for Denzel.
I love that. Bro, you would stop for Denzel. I would.
For Denzel,
I probably would too, because I'd be like, bro, what's up? Yeah. But no, you're right. Don't engage. It is easier to let it go.
Where is it
like we just said, it takes more energy to be mad. So think about that.
Just blow them a kiss.
And tell right, blow them a kiss. Or
I need to say
if I do that, they'll probably get more mad if I go, they'll be like, motherfucker.
You think I'm gay?
Right, yeah. What the fuck does that mean? No, but I just wave, you blow kisses. However you do it.
It is a way of de-escalating the situation.
Right.
And
that's
don't
very
even
important.
engage by the eye contact.
And I'm a concealed carry holder, and we've been taught that we will get in trouble if we engage that. We actually go to jail before you will, because we are supposed to know better, and we are supposed to what they call walk away from the situation, which is very hard. And if anybody out there likes Back to the Future as much as I do, what was Marty McFly's biggest problem? No one can call him a chicken. He would always get upset and want to escalate it because you can't call me a chicken.
Yeah.
But you know what? The biggest lesson in that movie was learn to walk away. In the third movie, it was walk away from the situation. No one's gonna. Who cares if they call you a coward? What does that mean at the end of the day? Right. It doesn't identify you.
But I'll tell you, that goes to show that there is something going on within you. You need to freaking go for therapy and get some help.
Yeah.
And I've had people who've had to come in for anger management because they've had a situation which has gotten out of control. So the court will say, dude, you got anger issues. You got to get some therapy and get some help. And they think it's about that incident. And I have to tell, it's not about the freaking car or he cut you off. Where is this rage coming from? Right? What are you thinking? Clearly, you're not thinking. You're kind of delusional. We talked about delusions.
Yeah.
Seriously? You're willing to
you
die
think the world
this?
is really coming at you.
It's
and
catastrophic
everyone's
thinking,
out to get you. Yeah.
Catastrophic thinking. So then it always originates to something that's happened to them in their life that they didn't deal with or are not dealing with, because you don't know this person. They're just a car.
Right.
So you're projecting, right? We talked about projection last. All this shit onto some unknown person.
Yes. And a vehicle is a 2-ton weapon. it can kill.
It can kill, right?
Not just and it will kill.
Yeah, not just you and the other person, but people around you that are innocent.
Yes.
When I see that stuff going on, you know what I do? I quickly get out of that situation.
Get out of the way, right?
I don't want to
be move over, right? I'm with you.
I don't want to be collateral damage to somebody else's fucked up thought.
Oh yeah, and I always tell my wife when I see that too. If they end up in a fucking accident down the road and it blocks my way, I'm gonna get out and start pummeling them because now I gotta be stuck in this fucking traffic jam because of you.
Disengage.
I'm just saying that it's like don't do it, right? It's just not worth it. Get to your destination. Understand that everyone on the road is entitled to be there. They have a car just like you. They are going somewhere just like you, and they want to get to their destination safe just like you. None of us want to be harmed.
Want to have that experience. But again, you're illustrating how our thoughts affect our emotions and they affect our actions. If you didn't think that guy was out to get you, you wouldn't get so fucking
then
pissed
it affects the people around you.
Absolutely.
Because now you're mad, so you get to your destination and then you probably take it out on somebody.
I call it you're spilling all over the place.
Yeah.
Get your shit back in. Go get some help.
Yeah,
you're spilling everywhere.
Whenever my guys hear me like ranting at you need a hug. And it makes me laugh again. And I just say, yeah, you know what? It's not even fucking worth it. Be happy. Don't worry. Right? That song was a great song. Don't worry, be happy. It is.
But I want to say to people, if you guys are identifying with this and you might be feeling those things when you get into that situation, get into your thought process. You have to start becoming aware. And I always tell people, put up your mental stop sign because they're like, well, give me something, give me a strategy. You know what a stop sign looks like? Everybody does.
Right.
Put it up in your head and then just stop. Because if you don't do that, it's going to escalate. We need to stop that catastrophic displaced thinking so we can feel calmer, de-escalate our emotions. So we're not going to get out of the fucking car and have a fight.
And I know
with
it sounds cliche, but be the bigger person.
Of course. Somebody has to be.
Right.
But I'll tell you, if you're thinking of doing that, it's a you problem. I don't care what the other guy did.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a strange car. You don't know the other person.
Really?
And you know what? It was probably my mistake. And that's happened to me where I cut somebody up. I didn't want to cut you off. I didn't want to cause an accident. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
And I don't want to kill you. So
or just even have your car wrecked and have to go through the insurance process.
I don't want that. It was an accident.
I mean,
so
who wants
and
to
they do. They speed up and they're like,
it's like fucking
goodbye.
Yeah. Women drivers, no survivors.
It's not intentional, guys.
Right.
Relax.
Yeah.
And I
calm
move
it down.
on. Because you also don't want, to carry that around with you.
I'm sure. Yeah. It's just not healthy, right?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Seriously? You're going to ruin your whole fucking day for somebody who cut you off?
I don't know. It seems like people live for that, especially the last 4 years in this country have really seemed like we live for that moment. We live for that fight. We live for that. I'm not doing it. I don't give a fuck, especially with like the mask thing because of the pandemic. People just stare at you like, go ahead, say something. And it's like, come on, man, common sense.
Uncommon sense.
But we seem to want to live, and not just the last 4 years. I would say too, just as an adult now, like to me the invention of like Jerry Springer, that's to what I saw society change as a kid, where we were all kind of cool about things. And then once that reality TV thing came, everyone was so ready to fight each other. It was like okay to get into arguments and fights and be more emotional about things. And then I don't know, but it just seems like that trend has caught on to where we're more angry today than we are to be helpful and happy. And then
there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression. And I think, okay, we got to get it out, but we got to get it out with the right people that it belongs to. Get it out in the correct situation. If I'm angry at you, I shouldn't be, telling the guy in the next car to fuck off and trying to cut him off. I got to take my emotions back to you and say, okay, I'm upset, you're upset, let's work it out. And we have to just deal with the anger, right? You can't suppress it. And people try. They put a lid on it, especially men. Put a lid on all those emotions.
Yeah,
right?
we can be pretty barbaric. I mean, it's in our nature.
It's in your nature. Yeah, primitive, primal.
Yeah.
Because fighting is healthy.
Yeah.
I do think it's healthy. And when people come in and say, we never fight, I'm like, yeah, you need to fucking fight.
Yeah.
Because
And
what are you talking about? You don't fight. It's how you fight that's really important. And it's not cliche. Absolutely, you should fight.
Right.
Because no one person is the same. You're never going to friggin' agree. And if we spend enough time with each other, guess what? We're going to butt heads.
We're going to have some sort of disagreement.
So
right.
just tell me what you think and feel. Let's work it out so we can move forward if I cherish the relationship. If I don't, well, fuck it. I don't care.
Then don't care.
It's over. We don't need to see each other. Goodbye, Gino.
Yes, I know, right? Hey, an hour and 23 already. Yeah? So what's the thought for today? Since we've gone on, but it's been great. I mean, we learned a lot today, I think. Yes. Yeah, everybody that's tuned in, thank you so much on Anita's IG and on the YouTube Live. We appreciate you and to the callers. But what do we want to leave them with for today until next week?
Well, I want them to think about the Sensate Focus exercise, and if you guys missed it, you can Google it. But I wanted for the people to think about, it was all about the physical intimacy, which is connected to emotional intimacy.
Sure.
Okay. And if you're not getting your physical needs met, then of course you need to have a conversation with your partner, with yourself first in terms of identifying your own needs and expectations. But ultimately that internal monologue, because we all do it, we talk to ourselves.
Right.
And I talk to myself so much. My kids sometimes say, Mom, your lips are friggin' moving. I'm like, oh shit, they are.
Wow.
But we have to once we've had that conversation with ourselves, we've got to have it with the other person.
Yes.
So we can come to some type of agreement, because it's not unreasonable to expect sex in a marriage or physical intimacy, any kind of physical intimacy in a marriage or a coupleship. That's the contract. And if you can't meet that contract and your partner still has those needs and expectations, it's not going to work out too well. You've got to compromise on something else. So I don't know, but you cannot you cannot be in a coupleship, have sexual needs and desires, and be with somebody who doesn't have any and not talk about it, because eventually it's all going to come out. And it's not going to come out the way you want it to. It's going to be a road rage sex incident.
It won't end well.
It won't end well.
So before it gets to the tipping point,
Yes.
handle it and you'll be better for it. Right. Well,
It's
thank
hard,
you,
but
Anita.
we can talk about it.
We appreciate you always for
thank
coming
you.
through.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, it goes so fast. I mean,
it does
time
go so
flies when
fast.
you're having fun, right?
And thank you, everyone, for joining the
Yeah.
IG Live.
We appreciate it.
Download the F.M.P app
And
if
check
you want to listen
out
to it.
Anita Live tomorrow, right? You do your
Yeah.
Thursday live on IG.
Tomorrow at 5 p.m., join me on Instagram, Ask Anita Astley.
Yes.
We will be having another conversation.
Right. I know you will. Yeah, we might end up popping in maybe
Pop
for that.
in.
Yeah,
I love that when
never
you
know.
guys connect with me.
I know. I know you guys are used to seeing Stamp, but he is going to be off for a little while, just making some moves, but he'll be back. Yeah, I miss him too, man. That's my guy right there. And that's usually the way I handle those situations. I'll call someone I'm close to and
it's a good idea.
just make sure, like, man, am I crazy? Let me just bounce this off you right quick. And he'll usually have some clever way of explaining it to where it diffuses the situation, which I love my buddies for.
Because you're talking,
right?
Rather than acting and becoming that projectile of action, you're talking.
Yeah, and you would agree, right? It's okay to have someone like that around you.
You need somebody like that.
Awesome.
And I would encourage all the guys, if you don't have that one person, you need to get one. I don't know, you can't order it on Amazon, but
I know, right? Yeah, those things just kind of happen.
Find someone in your family. You've got to nurture a relationship where you can call.
Or call Anita.
Yeah,
hey, I know. Yeah, I mean, you might take patience or not, but she can always refer you to a great place if not. But of course, call someone, find some answers. Be happy. It takes less energy, and it's proven if you don't believe it. Right. De-escalate. Yeah. But always a pleasure. Of course, we got to go now, but we appreciate you always. And thank everyone for tuning in, calling in. You guys be safe out there. Make sure you wear your mask. Stay 6 feet apart. COVID is real. So don't think it isn't. Yes. Go get the shot. Take the shot. It is okay. I know you got your thoughts, but it's better to be safe than sorry. You'd rather be alive than dead, I bet.
And for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And for those around you, again, help the others around you. So good luck, guys.
Bye, guys.
Stay safe. We'll see you next Monday with Anita. And you can ask and give her all the questions you want. Call in. We appreciate it. So, guys, be good. We'll see you next week. And until then, always stay woke. All right, let's go.
F.M.P. Radio. We keep it 100.